This comment was posted on a video of mine about 9 months ago, and I filed it away in my memory as a possible future topic for a video. But it wasn't until an experience I had recently that gave me the motivation to make it. More on that experience in a minute. First, let's have a look at the post. Here's a sad comment. I was waiting for my wife in a parking lot when I saw a young woman, 2 cars over, struggling to open her engine bonnet. I've been a backyard mechanic for over 50 years and have always helped out whenever possible. I sat in my car and thought about the likely response to an elderly white man offering to help a poor young woman in need. I decided to stay in my car and not risk the potential outrage at what would be characterized as an inappropriate act by a sexist old man. That is just sad in my books. Welcome to the Me Too world. Now, I'd say it's more than likely that the response from this young woman would have been one of gratitude for the assistance. But what's interesting is that this man went through this thought process at all. I mean, he must be at least in his mid to late 60s or even early 70s. He was born and raised in a world where chivalry was alive and well, if not expected. He didn't have to think twice about helping a woman in need. What does it say that a man of that age is rethinking whether he should help a female lest to be accused of some type of sexism? And can you blame him? In the wake of the I'm a Victim Too movement, it emerged that one of the reasons women were less likely to receive CPR was because men feared being accused of sexual assault. And now we have multiple surveys that show more men feel uncomfortable working with and mentoring women in the workplace. This, of course, has been dismissed as just a backlash by men upset that they can't sexually harass women whenever they like, which is exactly the kind of thing you would say if you want to avoid a nuanced conversation about the differences between what men and women perceive to be borderline harassment and deny that false allegations do happen. And now to my recent encounter. A couple of weeks ago on Sunday, I went for a walk in the morning, as I often do, and about 2/3 of the way around, as I was coming down a long, straight street, I hear a short beep on a car horn, the type you might do to get someone's attention. Yeah, something like that. I couldn't ascertain where it was coming from as there were no moving cars on the road. I walked about another 20 metres and then heard the same sound. However, this time I could see ahead, about 15 to 20 metres, a car facing me on the same side of the street. Inside was a woman looking to her left at the house she was parked out the front of. So naturally I assume she's there to pick someone up from that house and trying to get their attention. As I got to the front of the car, I was on the nature strip. The car was parked on the side of the road. She got out of the driver's side door, walked around the back of the car and stood so that she was not directly blocking my path, but enough to make me stop. And she asked me the following: "Can you stand here while I try to get my child out of that house?" I took one look at her, said, "Nope, not interested in your problems," and began to walk off. She then made an audible groan as if she was both confused and annoyed by my refusal to render assistance. And I instantly turned while mid-stride and asked, "You're a strong, independent woman, aren't you?" And then continued to walk off without looking back. So I have no idea what happened from there, whether she summoned that strength and independence that I hear so much about, or whether she waited for another sucker to come along. This interaction took place in a matter of seconds, no more than 5 at most. And for a little more context, I estimate the woman was in her early to mid-30s. She was dressed in tracksuit pants and a nondescript grey jumper. Her overall appearance was dishevelled, like she'd just gotten out of bed. And to be fair, it was about 9:15 on a Sunday morning. And the car was a faded blue piece of shit that I can't even remember the make or model of. However, her demeanour did not show any sign of agitation or anxiety. The way she spoke was calm and casual as you would speak to an acquaintance, not a complete stranger. Not to say that if this woman had been neatly dressed, attractive and polite, I would have helped her either. As I said, I assessed the situation in a split second and recognised it for what it was and decided I had no interest in being part of some domestic dispute involving people I don't know. I value my own safety and well-being over complete strangers. In all likelihood, I would not have been in danger, but why take the risk? I owe this woman nothing. And my jibe at her in response to her groan of annoyance as I walked away was prompted by what I interpreted as an expectation that I would dutifully comply. Feminists like to talk about male entitlement to female bodies. How about female entitlement to male protection? I mean, what other reason would she approach a complete stranger and make such a request? I guess I could have taken the time to ask her why she needed someone to stand by and recommend that she call the cops for assistance, because I'm sure as hell not going to get in the road of some potential violent bullshit that has nothing to do with me. But hey, not my problem, not interested, don't care. I suspect 15 or 20 years ago I probably would have instinctually assumed the role of male guardian without any prompting. Today, with years of experience behind me, I have absolutely no hesitation in walking away. I feel no obligation to put myself in harm's way for this random woman. I'm not interested in seeking female approval, and shaming tactics just don't work on me. The reality is this woman was shit out of luck. Of all the random men she could have run into, it just happened to be me. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't help the woman with her car bonnet either. I don't feel good about saying that. It's not something I'm proud of, and like the older guy that posted the comment, I think it's a little sad. It's not to say I don't or won't help people. If the woman I ran into just wanted directions, for example, I most probably would have obliged. I wouldn't hesitate to help old people struggling with a heavy object or a child drowning in water. So I don't have some blanket ban on helping complete strangers, and I don't want to conflate helping a woman open the bonnet of her car with acting as a shield in a domestic dispute as though they carry comparable amounts of risk. But I do think I am at least more likely to hesitate to help a woman these days, which simply comes down to, yeah, it probably won't be a hassle, but why take the risk? I mean, wouldn't it be a better society to live in if people did perform small favours for random strangers? And again, I'm not talking about getting involved in other people's domestic disputes, which I wouldn't recommend to anyone. Actually, I think most men would be quite willing to help a random woman out that needed help in some minor way. But when you're consistently reminded that your very existence as a male is something toxic, that you were born with privilege because you happen to have a certain set of chromosomes, and that an act of kindness or an offer of assistance could be, however small the possibility, be used against you to cast you as some kind of creep or, worse, destroy your career, is it surprising that many men just would rather not engage? Anyway, that's my little story I wanted to share. What would you have done in my situation? And what is your threshold for helping random strangers? As usual, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you next time.